see you there. I was too busy squatting, as you can see. It's the most important full body exercise every able-bodied man should be doing regularly. It makes you stronger, more fit, more conditioned, and in general, just harder to kill by your enemies and more useful to your friends. Today, we're going to show you how to squat. What's going on, guys? Ray here with the Club Global, teaching men around the world to be men of the world. And today we are learning about my favorite full body movement, the squat. It is the first thing you do when you're a baby. You squat and you stand back up. It's very rudimentary. It incorporates your entire body structure if you do it properly. And that's what we're going to talk about today. There is a multitude of benefits involved in lifting weights, working out, staying fit in general. We're not going to get into all that today. This video is simply an instructional on how to do the squat and a few important things about it. Now, for all you powerlifting and weightlifting nerds out there, today we are going to be talking about the low bar back squat. That is a squat I prefer to use. I think it's the most efficient form of squatting as it recruits the most muscles. So it's the most total body squat you can do. If you perform this movement properly, you will incorporate your quads, you'll incorporate your hamstrings, you'll incorporate your glutes, your back, your upper back, your core, everything. Everything is involved in performing this movement properly. And if trained properly, it will also promote general joint health and longevity. First thing I want to note is that every man should be doing some kind of weightlifting or barbell movements in their life regularly. I'm not saying you have to be in the gym, breaking records, hitting 1 rep maxes every single day, busting your ass, but at the very minimum, squat a few times a week. If you only do one movement to stay in shape, make it be the barbell squat. It's the most important one. All right, now let's get into it. So first thing is first, as with any compound barbell movement, half the battle is the setup. How you load the weight onto your body, how you perform the movement. This is something that will take lots of time and practice to dial in that technique. But here is the general explanation that will get you there to start with. Step 1, make sure you're grabbing the bar evenly. Before you even get your back under the bar, put your hands out, grab that bar evenly. All right, you want to get a nice grip, all your fingers on the bar. All right, as you get your back under it, you want to keep those elbows down. All right, you don't want them wrenched up and pushing the bar over into your neck. Keep your elbows down. Keep your hands evenly on the bar. You want the bar centered on your back. Most barbells have some kind of ring or marking on the sides. Use those as indicators. You want to make sure you have the barbell loaded properly and centered on your back. You want to have the bar resting right in the crook of your rear delt muscle. If you scrunch your shoulders back and your shoulder blades together and you get under that bar, you'll feel a little shelf where that bar wants to rest. That's where you want it to be. Once you get that bar in position, you want to pull your shoulder blades together, pull your shoulders back, and get a real tight upper back area. That's the foundation for this lift. Once you got your back set up under the bar and you're ready to load that weight on, neck position is the next thing you got to worry about. Don't wrench your neck up. Don't be staring down at your feet. You want your neck and your spine to be straight, all right? This is all part of keeping your whole upper area tight and rigid, all right? Pick a spot on the floor, maybe like 4 feet away from you, and just, laser eyes, stare at that spot. All the way up and down, that's your spot you're staring at. Keep your head right there, you won't have any problems. Next, let's talk about foot position. Let's not make this more complicated than it has to be, all right? When you step out of the rack, don't make a million steps backwards, all right? You're trying to be as efficient with your energy as possible. Just take 1-2 steps back, just enough to clear the J hooks with the bar so you can perform the movement, all right? Especially if you're doing a real heavy lift, you don't want to be taking like 4 or 5 steps back, then performing it, busting your ass, and then having to take 4 or 5 steps forward to re-rack it. No way. Total waste of energy. Be efficient, be smart. don't be all fidgety either. Don't be twisting and stomping your feet and shifting the bar around on your back. Remember, all that stuff should be tight. Once that bar is off the rack, your shoulders and chest aren't moving. You're already in position. All right. Once you plant your feet where they're going to go, they're planted. You're not twisting them into the ground or any of that bullshit. They're staying right where they are, and that's where they're going to remain for all the reps of the lift. And that's it. Now, before we perform this lift, we're going to do what you should do before every major compound lift. And this will help brace your core and keep your whole torso rigid. You are going to take a huge breath into your belly. Think like you're going to get punched in the gut, like you're expecting to get punched right in your stomach. Big breath into your belly. Keep your abs super tight. That's how you're going to keep them through the entire lift. You want to hold your breath for as many reps as you can, keeping that whole area tight. If you can only hold it for 1 rep, that's fine. When you come back up from that rep, let your breath out, tighten back up again. That's what you got to do. Now, our upper back is tight, our chest is puffed up, right? Our feet are planted, our abs are tight, everything is tight. We are ready to go. Now we're going to perform the lift. You're going to sit your hips back or sit your butt back like you're going to sit into a chair. At the same time, pushing your knees forward. It's all going to happen at the same time. Knees bend forward as your hips bend down and back. All right? And you are going to lower down, keeping the center of the barbell in a straight line with the center of your feet. All right? This is how gravity works. You want the weight to be centered over your center of gravity, which as you perform the lift should be right over the middle of your feet. And that's how you want to perform it. You should be able to draw a straight line down from the middle of the barbell, and that line should intersect perfectly with the shoelaces of your shoes. Now, while performing this lift, to get the most out of it, you want to get full range of motion. That doesn't mean you got to slap the back of your thighs against your calf muscles, ass to grass. No. Just make sure you're getting your hips below the tops of your knees. As long as you do that each rep, you're getting the most extension that's efficient for this lift. If you can't get that deep, that's okay. You can work on it. One thing, make sure you're using the proper weight. If you're using a weight that's too heavy, your body's probably going to self-correct and you're going to shortchange yourself. Don't do that. Make sure you're using a light weight, especially if you're just learning this stuff. Use something real light. Work on the technique. Something that's not heavy, barely challenging, just something that you can have on your back as you learn this technique. All right? Another thing could just be a range of motion. Maybe your hamstrings are too tight. Maybe your hips are too tight. Maybe you sit at a fucking desk all day and you're freaking right. So you're all kyphotic. Your shoulders all rolled over. Your upper back's all curled, and you got a Donald Duck butt going on. All right. Those things are all going to affect your range of motion. Doing this stuff regularly and properly will correct that over time. All right. For the time being, if you're having a range of motion problem, squat down on a bench or on a chair or something like that. Something to get that sensation that you're going deep enough. As you go further and further, you can lower and lower that bench. Eventually you will get to the proper depth, I promise you. And remember what I said about keeping your feet planted the whole time. When you're coming down in your squat, don't get up on your toes, don't get back on your heels. Those are no good. All right? That means there's some kind of imbalance there, or your technique is off, or you're pushing yourself further than you should be going. All right? Use a cell phone. Film yourself from the side doing your lift so you can check your form. We all got smartphones nowadays, right? Just stick it by the side of the rack or the squat thing, whatever you're using, and check your form. See how you're looking. Are your feet coming up on your toes? Are you coming back on your heels? Are you not getting deep enough, right? Are you not pushing your butt far enough? Are you pushing it too far? These are all things you can look at and correct as you go along. And remember, the setup is important. That should look the same no matter what weight you're doing. If you're doing a super light weight, it should look the exact same setup-wise as if you're doing a super heavy weight. The only thing that should change is how fast that bar goes up and down. If it's a heavier weight, probably going to go a lot slower. That's okay. As long as your setup and your technique are right, you'll be golden. Consistency is the key here. That's the most important part of lifting weights, all right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Consistency of technique, all right? Doing it over time, generating that muscle memory, getting better and better at it. As long as you're practicing, you'll see that that technique looks the same whether you're squatting 135 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, whatever. It'll look the same every time, and you will be getting stronger and healthier as you do it. And man, that's pretty much it. That's squatting. I mean, there's other details and cues. You can get into way more nitty gritty, but this is just a basic instructional. If you got further questions, feel free to ask down in the comments or shoot me an email, ray@theclub.global, and I will do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. All right, but man, squatting is not friggin' rocket surgery. All right, you're sitting down with weight and you're standing up with it. And that's all I got for today. This is Ray, signing out.